In Little Red Riding Hood, they learn never to trust strangers, and in Watership Down, they discover difficult themes of death and conflict. And in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl warns children about the dangers of greed through a series of unfortunate incidents, including drowning a child in a chocolate river and turning one into a giant blueberry. But best-selling children's author Geraldine McCaughrean has hid out because she says such stories are no longer deemed acceptable for primary school kids. She says, with a book that's going to be sold into schools, you get a list of things that are unacceptable: no witches, no demons, no alcohol, no death, no religion. It really does cut down what you can write about. The 67-year-old, who received the CILIP Carnegie Medal, Britain's oldest book award, adds, "It's extraordinary because in preschool you can read fairy tales in their original form, and some of them are really scary and dark. But you go to junior school, and all of a sudden the fairy tales that you read have been sanitized and cleaned up." Under such rules, the worst witch, the Hobbit and even Harry Potter would be banned from school libraries. But what about the lessons we can all learn from them? Here our columnists reveal the important morals they remember from the childhood book, which may now be on the no-read list. Paul Routledge On My bookshelf is a copy of Tom Sawyer, the children's classic by American author Mark Twain. It's a harum-scarum story of growing up in a 19th century Mississippi River town with a murder, slavery, running away and playing hooky from school. I wanted to be like Tom, adventurous, getting into trouble, having best mates, pretending to be pirates and hiding in caves from the adults. Unfortunately, the book is a prize for excellent work in Form IVA, so I didn't quite live up to the hero I so admired. I've tried to make up for it since, morphing into Huckleberry Finn. Reade It makes me shudder to think of kids being deprived Roald Dahl's books because someone has deemed them too subversive or adult. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory opened my eyes at the age of 9 to the brutal inequalities of life. The story of Charlie Bucket's family living off cabbage soup and sleeping on the floor of a tiny hovel, while outside gluttonous types like Augustus Gloop had everything fall into their lap simply because they were accidents of birth, helped form political views which have never left me. And he did it with such a wicked humor. How could such genius be anything other than a golden ticket to early inspiration? Rachel Bletchley and Frances Hodgson Burnett's 1911 classic The Secret Garden. Mary, 10, is a sickly withdrawn child living in India with her uncaring parents until a cholera epidemic kills them and the servants, and she's left to fend alone. Cheery, A. It certainly gave me nightmares when I was 10. Eventually Mary is found and sent to live with her cold, widowed uncle in his miserable English home. So, unsurprisingly, the kid has issues. But this tale of misery blossoms into a story of hope when she discovers a secret walled garden, a pal, Dickon, and a crippled cousin Colin hidden in the back bedroom. Mary and Dickon wheel him into the garden, which they tend until it blooms. Colin recovers, Uncle Archie's heart is healed, and we all get a life lesson about neglect and death, love and nurture. Kevin McGuire The Twins is a great life lesson that nasty people get their comeuppance when the world's turned upside down. I read Roald Dahl's classic to my kids, and the spoiler alert is the heroes are a good Samaritan roly-poly bird which didn't fly by on the side and exploited Muggle-Wumps monkeys. The villains are the twit couple who come to a sticky end after receiving a taste of their own medicine. Like all nasty folk, they're fundamentally stupid, living in a house with no windows because they think they're for looking in, not out is a brilliant insight into closed minds. Parts are frightening, but we learn from fear when goodness triumphs and the evil are vanquished. Siobhan McNally. I say, chaps, this banning Enid Blyton in schools for writing about witches, an evil sandman and a magic faraway tree is a beastly business. I grew up reading all of Blyton's books, and I think they're wizard. They never did me any harm, well except the time I blew myself up trying to make lashings of ginger beer, which taught me to never underestimate the active properties of dry yeast. I also learned valuable life skills about tuck boxes, midnight feasts and apple pie beds. Never mix all three or you'll end up with crumble. But most of all it taught me how to spot an absolute rotter, or Jacob Rees-Mogg as he's also known. Andy Dunn. I'm in Russia at the moment where, in the time of my childhood years, 5 went to a salt mine if they read anything as subversive as an Enid Blyton book. And of course, Blyton is considered unsuitable reading by many at home, with some even reckoning her work is full of double entendres. Complete nonsense. My favorite 5 go to Billy Coghill, address modern-day issues of espionage and the media's role in society. Honest. Anyway, life lessons you can learn from Enid. I've read her books to my daughter, who now has an inherent skepticism about posh kids. A valuable one, indeed. Sarah Wallace. When my 6-year-old son took an interest in fairy tales, I admit I worried he'd be waking me up in a cold sweat. Jack climbed up his beanstalk to face a giant who munched on little boys. Brer Rabbit was chased down a dark well. And don't even get me started on the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. But surely sugarcoating everything hampers the imagination. I voraciously read C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia as a child, a dark series about a kingdom ruled by the evil White Witch with talking lioness Lan the hero. There was death and destruction, and I probably never noticed the religious subtext. But it taught me about friendship, adventure and right and wrong. You can't feed the imagination without a few monsters under the bed. Ashley Rainbird. I thought history lessons were boring at school, so my entire understanding of yesteryears came via the Horrible Histories series, and they were truly grim. Thanks to books such as The Terrible Tudors, I still remember that footballs were originally made from a pig's bladder, how Elizabeth I had rotten teeth, and I learned how it took 3 blows with an axe for a clumsy executioner to behead Mary Queen of Scots. There were plenty of deaths covered in their pages. I am grateful to Terry Deary and his fascination with the gruesome for my knowledge of times past.